Well, hello everybody, and welcome to our random game of the day, and we have got a double Steeni battle taking on Belfergor and Bottom.Feeder as we load into the game. And here we are, 55 seconds in until wave one. Let's take a look at our lanes. Let's start in on lane one. That is Steeni 42. On lane two, Legendary Steeni. And it looks like we have got a cross going on as Legendary Steeni is on 7 workers. That means he is not going to be putting any units out right now. As we take a look, still no posting. It looks like Steeni has now placed his Bone Crusher over on lane 1, and again Legendary Steeni on lane 2 with no units. He is going with the 7 workers. That is a cross strategy. We'll look over onto the east lane. On lane number 3 is Belfergor is locked into that Green Devil. It's a great start and able to get 2 waves out of the Green Devil without having to advance. And of course, now on lane 4, Bottom.Feeder just getting in on time. He is going to get the Grawl, and he does not have a tier 6 unit, so it looks like we are not going to see a tier 6 push there. So the Grawl being used in its pure sense, not as a money meat shield. Taking a look over at our lane 1, with Steeni, and again nothing happening over on lane 2 as all of those units have leaked down. So this is the design to be able to econ right away, and generally this value for the total from income needs to stay above the total loss to leaks, or else obviously you're going to be falling behind. Already 50 Mythium right here for the Legendary Steeni, so he'll be able to send a turn 2 Brute, which is kind of nasty to send over. And this Bone Crusher just tanking all of these tier 1 units as it continues to regenerate. Now, as it gets a little bit lower in its health, it actually regenerates faster. So that's the features of the Bone Crusher. And we do see the start of the sends here. We're seeing from the Legendary Steeni, again going with the cross. The Legendary Steeni is sending a Fiend, and a Fiend is really good against the send target. And in this case, and if I can get my mouse to work, in this case it is lane 4, and that is the Grawl and the Windhawk. So knowing that he is going to be getting some extra sends, the extra defense perhaps that might not need to be there, as we take a look at Legendary Steeni's total loss to leaks is 29, and the total income only 21, but the income will start to get more and more as he ramps up. You see he's now up to 8 workers. And it looks like the sends over on wave 4, that is Bottom.Feeder's lane. Looks like we are going to see a leak, so we're starting to see again the pressure that gets put on by the cross. Now the question is, can the east lane put enough pressure on in regards to sends to be able to stop this cross? The cross can be very dangerous, but under the guiding hands of some 2 really good players, you're bound to see the ability for this cross to go well. And I'm wondering, just seeing that this is Steeni 42 and Legendary Steeni, that this is just not Steeni playing on 2 different accounts, which would not be past his abilities. So that's definitely something there. Steeni, one of those great streamers there, and you see already that you are seeing another Fiend coming in for Legendary Steeni. That is going to be sent to Bottom.Feeder, who's got to be putting up his defense to be able to satisfy this. The normal recommended value on wave 4 is 310, and you see the Bottom.Feeder is at 350, which should put him pretty close to being able to fend off this feed. But we will have to see what happens over on lane 4 as we take a look at lane 2, and again all those units sliding through, and you see the sends that are coming. That's a double benefit for the east lane, because they do get the income from the sends, and they also get the added money coming across for this send being killed in the middle zone. So that's a strategy that you can do to try and get some extra income to battle this cross ability. As we take a look at Legendary Steeni, right now his total from income is $66, and he's lost $70 to leak. We're going to see a little bit more there right now, but obviously that number will jump when we go into the night phase. Another great unit in this lead up here is this Bounty Hunter, as it's getting double mana from all the units that are coming through from the blue lane, the Legendary Steeni lane. And so he is going to be ramping up very quickly. You will see that upgraded to a Kingpin as that mana comes on up. Taking a look now, it is a Fiend and 2 Snails coming from the cross lane. And again, Bottom.Feeder having to put some extra into the defense, up to 5 workers already. Red Steeni is only at 3 workers, having to pay to be able to defend 2 lanes. So you'll see that he'll be well above the recommended value of 380 for wave 5. And he's going to be sending a couple Snails to get some income in on his side here. Let's take a look at the income score. Right now, Legendary Steeni, we're looking at 81 or now 87 income per wave, and Belfergor doing an excellent job at keeping up. He's already at 57 per wave, so he's keeping a good job up on the income as well, not falling that far behind in regard to the cross. Let's take a look over at lane 4. It's Bottom.Feeder who's getting all these sends, and with that Hellraiser able to hold. And again, we take a look down at the Hellraiser. The Hellraiser is doing a 3 attack shot. Each one of those shots is at 52 DPS, and it does go very quickly. It shoots, and every once in a while it's going to have a tantrum, so you're going to see that red fire that gets in there, and once that red fire's there, it actually attacks much faster. So good work so far by the defending team, Bottom.Feeder. You have to list them as the defending team right now, because again, they are dealing with this constant pressure coming from Legendary Steeni, who's up to 16 workers already. And let's see what he does in regards to his sends. Right now, he is out of Mythium, so he's been sending 3 Snails there, which is maybe a little bit below where he'd like to do at this moment. And again, that's because he is using a lot of his Mythium to upgrade the King, as you see 2 upgrades in for the King now. On the east side, as we take a look at Belfergor's lane, on the east side, they have upped their King a ton. So a lot of work being done to try and be able to defend against this cross strategy that's being put in by the west lane. Again, you see this pressure, this double income from this lizard. Let's take a look at where we're at right now. 246 to income, 202 lost, 2 leaks. So right now, the value is starting to come over top of that, and you'll see that total from income start to skyrocket as up to 16 workers, but equally impressive is Belfergor, up to 12 workers already. Let's go take a look at his lane. He's in lane 3. And just doing a good job right now, as he is set up very well for Wave 7 and Wave 8, as they are arcane defensive waves, because you've got magic attack coming from the Sludges and the Cobras. So this arcane defense going to serve him well. That's why you see him ramping up. And you'll see again that the person who is receiving from the defending lane, and the defending lane is Steeni, the red Steeni in lane 1, he has to put everything he has into defense to be able to handle both waves, both wave 1 and wave 2, whereas Belfergor is getting no pressure coming, and so he is able to ramp up, and you see up to 13 workers already. And for this cross section to work, Legendary Steeni needs to get that ramp up quite high. So far, Bottom.Feeder is your MVP in my opinion, because he's able to hold all of these waves. But again, as Legendary Steeni starts to put extra damage into these sends, right now only 3 Snails, now 4 Snails coming into wave number 7, that we're going to have. Again, as he starts to pressure, he's up to 189 income per wave right now. His pressure is going to start to add up on to Bottom.Feeder, and Bottom.Feeder is going to have to keep that defense high, and you see it up to 775 right now. Again, this empty lane right here on Blue's legendary Steeni, completely empty, but this is the how that manifests itself is all that money is going into workers, 24 workers right now for the legendary Steeni, and he's able to send 6 snails on this one. Let's take a look at those snails as they head in to this defensive stalwart that Bottom.Feeder has got. Lots of pressure, and it is a tantrum mode for the Hellraiser. That's what you see, that fire above the head. And so you're going to see some extra damage there, and he's able to handle those snails no problem. Looking at the leaks caught, every single leak caught by Steeni 42. And the leak value 322 from legendary Steeni coming through. And again, you look, the only time that legendary Steeni was able to push Bottom.Feeder is this 46% on wave number 2. That's as he sent that fiend a little early, so it was difficult for Bottom.Feeder to be able to get his army value up high enough. But just look at this, 124%. And as we take a look over at the West lane, now you're starting to see the pressure coming through. The Priestess is not going to be able to hold on to this wave, so we are going to start to see some leaks, and now we're going to get some income coming in for these leaks going to the other team. So some extra income added in, and this money all going to the East team as Belfergor and Bottom.Feeder are benefiting greatly from that. Belfergor already up to 19 workers, and 26 make it 28 workers, 29 workers for legendary Steeni. And this is when the ramping starts to happen, as he's up to 31 workers. And let's take a look at his income right now, 291 per wave. So you'll see sometimes games where you get up to 300 per wave in, you know, the 15th, 16th wave, and he's here on wave 8 already with 300 income per wave. Not to be outdone, though, is Belfergor, who's just at 200, but still a lot of pressure combined between the two teams. They're pretty similar to the amount of income, just perhaps a little bit less. Our Zeus doing work here on this first lane. One of the fastest attackers. Got great attack speed, and it just mows down anything. If it can be kept back in this DPS lane, it is going to be doing the damage. And again, we talked about that Kingpin leveled up to 149 mana. That's an additional 298 damage every time that it hits. And so you're taking a look there. It is regaining life every time it kills something, so that's part of their ability. If they gain 10% of their of the maximum health of the unit that they kill, they gain that back every single time they kill a unit. Taking a look at our income right now, just under 400 income from legendary Steeni, and let's see if he's starting to build units. He has not decided to build the units yet, so we have the greater defensive side here, the army value up to 1555 from Steeni 42, again still on 8 workers, but able to still get 75 income, so not bad in just regarding in his value sense. And legendary Steeni now getting a big send there that's highlighted by this cannoneer. Let's take a look over at Bottom.Feeder and how he's dealing with these 5 lizards that have been sent at him, doing pierce damage. And as we take a look at Orchid, she is swift, so she takes extra damage from pierce, but she is a tank in regard to just how much damage that she can do. And you see her firing through and able to hold on to the wave is Bottom.Feeder, so he is doing a good job so far in avoiding the leaks that are coming from the legendary Steeni. Again, up to 39 workers. It's 27 workers for Belfergor as the lane who is not receiving any real sends from Steeni. Like you see the snail that's coming from Steeni next round. That has been the extent of the pressure. So that's why Belfergor is pushing as hard as he is in regards to his value. Heading into wave 10 right now. And pretty much everybody is good on their army value with the exception of legendary Steeni, because again, up to, let's make it 47, 48 workers. Does he get to 50 workers? He gets to 50 workers on wave 10. Let's take a look at his income, 500 gold every single turn. So you're going to start to see him build fairly quickly. He'll be able to make up the damage, or sorry, he would be able to make up the army value as he is. And let's take a look. Legendary Steeni receiving the double cannoneer. Let's take a look over at Bottom.Feeder's lane as he has the most pressure. But again, when you see these masks, they're doing some extra damage back into this back lane. Because again, the Hellraiser starts to split its attack, and that looks easy for the defense of Bottom.Feeder. And right now, Legendary Steeni is going to have to do some more in regards to putting pressure, or this gambit that they're doing as they fall 1,300 gold behind in value. The gambit is just not going to be worth it for them. Let's take a look at the west lane as the priestesses try and do damage to the granddaddy, but not enough, and he is going to leak through. It is a fully upgraded Earth King, however, so he's going to be able to take care of this fairly quickly. But 20-ish damage, let's make it 20 damage done to the king right there, and you see why that, again, the damage coming through, and we're going to have to see Legendary Steeni put some army value in fairly quickly, or he's going to be in trouble. He's now close to 60 workers. Up to 60 workers now. And that income continues to skyrocket at 627. We take a look at the army composition. The double kingpin there, almost fully charged and fully charged, so doing a ton of damage as well as able to soak up a ton of damage. And then you'll start to see the upgrades of the Priestess of the Abyss to the Azaria, which is a premier unit and really can change the scope of a game. So you'll see this upgrade happen as soon as Steeni 42 can make it happen. Let's head over again to wave 4 as we see the pressure being put on by the send from the legendary Steeni. But it doesn't seem to be a problem for the lane 4 player. That's Bottom.Feeder, as his army value is through the roof at 2270. That is 500 above the recommended value for this previous wave. And again, a clear across the board. Now 5 dinos being sent, and this is where you start to see the ramp. Let's head over, see how the defense of Steeni 42, or the red Steeni, is holding on here. And there you see the Kingpin going down, so we will have a leak here as these priestesses do develop into the best unit in the game, but in their current form, once they get past wave 10, they start to become less effective. They just don't have the HP to be able to tank, to have their ability come into play. Call that a 5% loss on the king, and you see it jump up to 83, then back down to 72. It just has to do with the adding of life to the king value. Still no army on the legendary Steeni side. And just taking a look at what he's got there, he's got, when he starts the build, he does have some great tier 6 units, some good endgame tier 6 units, as well as some good tanking units. So he doesn't have any tier 1, tier 2 units. He's only got the lowest level unit he has is obviously here in the Windhawk. And now we're starting to see, look, let's take a look at lane 4, and you see the question mark of doom as 920 Mythium gets sent over. And if Bottom.Feeder is able to hold this wave with a 900 pressure highlighted by, count them, 8 dinos, then he is definitely going to send a statement over to legendary Steeni. Look at this pressure being kept forward. We're seeing if the Ocean Templar can hold on. And the Ocean Templar is going to hold on. A held wave with 1,000, just under 1,000 Mythium's worth of pressure. And now can Steeni 42 hold the pressure that's coming on the legendary Steeni? Let's see if this consecutive leaking that's coming through is going to prompt the legendary Steeni to start to build. He does have 1,000 income, so over the span of 3 waves he should have the highest army value. But it looks like he's still going for a ramp up to 82 workers right now. Belfergor now having to slow down a little bit on his worker count, but because he needs to counter the defense, so you'll see him pop up right now in army value. As you look, his team has gained 1,600 gold just from the income there, so that's why you see them being so high up in regards to just their worker numbers, compared to, you see, the original Steeni with his 3 original workers. Bottom.Feeder again getting 640, highlighted by 8 dinos. Make that 7 dinos. And still nothing on the legendary Steeni side, as our drill golems are got into the back line, which is definitely where you don't want them. But look at this defensive stand by Bottom.Feeder, proving that he is not a bottom feeder by any stretch of the imagination. However, he's going to have to deal with 8 dinos again next wave, as you see legendary Steeni spamming them over here on my left side. And now we see the upgraded Azaria, and this Azaria can tank a lot of damage, but I don't think that it can tank this much damage, as you see all the pressure here from these cannoneers. That's 6 cannoneers that are just pumping in the damage, down to 38%. 109 workers for legendary Steeni, who's got to build something at this point, I believe, or he's going to be in trouble. He's got to have some sort of defense. Let's see if that worker count comes up, or if he decides, as the worker count doesn't come up, it looks like he is going to start to build. The question is what is he going to build? I'm sure that the banana bunks have made their way into his idea. Still no building on the side here. He does have 1,500 gold and 9 seconds left in regard to just being able to build. I don't know what he's saving his gold for. Perhaps he's saving his gold for wave 15. And let's take a look over at Bottom.Feeder, who received 1,460 Mythium. Pretty much the entirety of the top row of the sends that are possible. And can he hold on? Can Bottom.Feeder hold on with 4,450 in army value, which is currently 1,500 above recommended value? And he's going to hold on without any single problem at all. So is the backfire going to happen here? Is this leak going to come through and do enough damage? 1,500 unspent gold sitting in legendary Steeni's account that he could have used to prevent this leak that's happened here, just to be able to kill a few of these units. Now, is this going to be enough? A fully upgraded king with 25% health left. And I think the big mistake is this 1,500 gold that's sitting there, as you see that Steeni 42 and legendary Steeni fall, trying a cross strategy, 109 workers, but no army, getting taken out by Belfergor and Bottom.Feeder. This has been your random game of the day. My name is Jeremy. Make sure that you jump on to Legion Tower Defense 2 and join in on the fastest growing tower defense and team defense game.